guys, welcome back to our channel, and this is part 3 of our Unix tutorial. If you haven't gone through part 1 and part 2, just don't worry, the links are already given in the description box. You can just go there, watch them and come back again. So now let's start with part 3 of our Unix tutorial. In the last class I talked about Unix file hierarchy. So I showed you this file hierarchy in the last class, and I told you that there is a home directory which is directly under this root directory. Now whenever a user for the first time logs into the system, what happens is a new directory is created under this home directory, a new directory with the same name as the username of the user. So for example, if you are a new user, so you have a username and a password, then whenever you first time logs into the system, a new directory with the same name as your username is gonna create under the home directory. Now as you can see here that under home there is a directory named username1, which must be the username of some particular user, and there is another directory named username2. And there can be such multiple directories because Unix is a multi-user system. Fine. Now in this file hierarchy you can just roam here and there anywhere you like with a command named cd. Cd means change directory. So it's something like give cd, the command, then give a space and then give the path of that particular directory where you want to go. Path means the complete specification where the directory is currently stored. So let me show you this. For example, suppose you are in dir1 right now and you want to go to dir2. So what you can do is okay, before that just remember one thing, that every directory knows all the directories with which it is sharing its parents. For example, home, etc, dev, bin, lib, mnt, proc, root, sbin, tmp, user, they all know each other because they all are sharing a single parent which is root. Fine. And for home knows username 1 and username 2 because these two directories are directly under home. So a particular directory knows all the directories with which all the directories and files, of course, with which it is sharing its parent, and it knows all the files and directories which is directly under that particular directory. Fine. Now suppose I told you that you are in dir1 and you want to go to dir2. So how can you do that? Basically the command is cd, that's obvious, then give a space, then you need to mention the path name of dir2. Now you are in dir1 and dir1 knows that there is an existence of dir2, so you can just mention dir2, that means cd space dir2, and you can just directly jump into this directory. This is called relative path. Means you are in a particular directory and you want to go to some other directory, you have mentioned the directory name only. Means you are specifying a path which is relative to this dir1. This is called the relative path. And there is an absolute path, which means the specification of the path with respect to the root. So in absolute path we start from the very beginning, that is from the root, and then go down to that particular directory. That is for dir2, the absolute path is first root, then home, then give a delimiter which is / for Unix, then username 1, then again give a / then dir2. Whenever you move one directory level lower or up, low in low or upward, you just need to mention a delimiter which is / for Unix. For C it's a backslash, but for Unix it's /. So the absolute path name of dir2 is first root, then home, then again a / then username 1, then again a / and then dir2. So this is the absolute path. So you can give absolute path irrespective of where you are currently. But if you are in dir 1 and you want to go to dir 2, you can mention the relative path, which is just dir 2 for this case. Let's take another example. Suppose you are in home directory and you want to go to dir 3. Now again the command is cd and you can mention two paths, means either the relative path or the absolute path. So the absolute path is very easy, like first the root, then home, then give a /, then username 1, then again give a /, then dir 3. This is the absolute path. And what is the relative path? Relative path is username 1, then /, then dir 3, because home knows username 1 but home does not know about dir 3. So the relative path of dir 3 from home is username 1, then give a /, then dir 3. Fine. So let me show you in my bash shell. So currently I am in my bash shell. So let me show you this. Let me show you the contents first. So I have a directory named dir1. I want to go there. How can I do that? So give cd and then give the relative path or absolute path. So first I want to give the relative path only. So dir1 is directly under my current directory. Now this tilde symbol specifies, now see, the characters in yellow color, this specifies my current working directory, and this tilde symbol specifies my home directory. You can even check it, like pwd is the command. Suppose I told you that you can just roam here and there in the file hierarchy, and suppose you are lost somewhere and you don't know where you are currently, so you can just give the command pwd, that is print working directory. It's gonna give you the absolute path of your working directory. For me, it's my home directory, that is the directory same name as my username. I'm here right now, and under this under this home directory I have a directory named dir1. So my home directory knows about this directory because this is directly under this home directory. So I can mention cd, then give a space, and then give a relative path, which is dir1, then press enter. Fine. Now I want to go back to my home directory. So for that the command is cd and then ... I can give . Means one level up the current directory, which is my current directory is dir1. One level up means my home directory. The tilde symbol specifies my home directory. Or what else I can do? I can just give cd and press enter. What is gonna happen? It doesn't matter where I am right now, but if I give cd and hit enter, it's gonna take me to my home directory. And if I give cd tilde means my home directory, so it's gonna take me my home directory again. So let me show you this one, cd ... means my parent directory of current directory. So this is my home directory right now. Now let me show you the contents of dir1. So there is another directory named dir under dir, and I'm right now in my home directory and I want to go to dir under dir. What I can do, I can give cd, then give a space, then I can give the relative path, which is dir1, then a delimiter, because there is a directory change, that is dir1, then give a delimiter, then dir under dir. You can just hit tab for autocomplete, but it only does when there is no ambiguity with the directory name. Like suppose there is another directory under this dir1 with name dir11. So if I give dir and hit tab, it's not gonna understand. So there should not be any ambiguity with the name. So if I hit enter, it's gonna take me to dir under dir. Now I want to go back to my home directory. So either I can give cd and hit enter, it's gonna take me to my home directory, or I can give cd then give dot dot then give a slash then again dot dot. Means first dot dot means one level up the current directory, which is dir1, and another dot dot means again one level up the current directory, which is my home directory. And now I want to go back to dir under dir once again. So what I can do right now, I can give cd then give a minus. Minus means it's gonna take me where I was before the last cd command. So again I am in dir under dir. So it's very simple, isn't it? Fine. Now what you can do, what we can do right now, what I can do, okay, let's see the contents of this, and there is nothing at all under dir. Now I want to make a directory, say with the command mkdir means make directory, and I just want to make maybe 4 directories, say p1 then p2 then p3 then p4, 4 individual directories. So if you want to make multiple directories at one go, you can just give the names of the directories separated by space, and if you want to give only one name, then just only give mkdir then space then directory name. Hit enter and check the contents. See, there are 4 directories. Now I want to make a new directory named p5, and under that directory I want to make another new directory with name p5 new. So what I can do, mkdir then give p5 then hit enter, then again go to mkdir then p5 slash p5 new. Or what else I can do, I can do it in one go. That means first mkdir means make directory, then make directory of p5 with name p5, then make another directory which is under p5 with named p5 new. So first the shell is gonna encounter mkdir, then it's going to check that there is no directory with p5, so it's gonna make a new directory with p5. Then under this p5, as you can see, this is a relative path with respect to dir under dir. So it's gonna interpret it like this, like there is already a directory named p5, and under that directory it needs to make a new directory named p5 new. Hit enter, check the contents, check the content of p5, and here it is, p5 new. Now I want to make again a new directory named p6, and under that p6 directory I want to make a new directory named p6 new. So what I can do here, that again mkdir, and this time I'm giving it like this, say p6 then p6 new. This is the first one, and then p6 itself. So what do you think, what's gonna happen? Shell is first going to encounter mkdir, and then it's gonna see that it needs to make a new directory named p6 new under p6 directory, but currently there is no p6 directory at all. So whenever it encounters this part, it's gonna give an error message that there is no such directory, and after that it's gonna check that it needs to make a new directory under the current directory named p6. So it's gonna make p6 because there is no problem with that. So check it, give ls. See, there's already a directory, there's a directory created with name p6, and if you check the contents of p6, there's nothing at all, because when it was creating p6 new, it generated this error and skipped it, and directly it came at this place, and it created p6. Fine. Now I want again I want to make a new directory named p7, and under that I want to create p7 new. And I'm really a lazy person. I don't want to do all this like memkdir, then p7, then p7/p7 new. I don't want to do that. What I'm gonna do, mkdir, then p7/p7 new. What do you think what's gonna happen? It's gonna give me an error message because there is no directory named p7. So where it's gonna make this p7 new, right? For that, what you can do is there's an option named -p. So mkdir, if encounters -p, it's gonna generate first p7, which is the parent directory of this particular directory p7 new, and then it's under that parent directory p7 is gonna make the new directory p7 new. Check the contents. There's p7. Check the content of p7. There's p7 new. That's it. So we have learned how to make new directories, and now let's talk about renaming the directories. So suppose I have p1 and I want to change the name of p1 to pir1. For that, the command is mv, which generally means move. Now what I want to move, that is p1 with pir1. Now what is gonna happen here is that mv command is going to change the name of p1 to pir1 because there is no such directory with name pir1 under this current directory. That's why the name of p1 is gonna change to pir1. Check it. So it just renamed p1 with pir1. But suppose I give like this, mv, then p2, p3. What do you think what's gonna happen? 2 p3s. Do you think so? Let's check. ls. And see, there is no such directory with name p2 at all. So where it is? Check the contents of p3, and here you can see that p2 is under p3. So that means mv is gonna move p2 to a directory named p3, and p3 is already present in the current directory, and that's why it's gonna move p2 under p3, not renaming p2 to p3. That's a very important distinction. Fine. So till now we have learned about making new directories and renaming them, moving them to another directory, and so on. And the thing that is left till now is removing directories. Yes. So let me just remove all the directories, whatever there is. rmdir is the command for that, and I'm gonna move p3, I'm gonna move p4. It's same like mkdir. So if you want to remove multiple directories, you can give the names and separating them with space. But one thing you need to remember is that if you want to remove a directory, the directory must be empty. Hit enter. And see, generated the error message for p3 that p3 is not empty, p5 is not empty, and also for p6 because p6 is not empty. But it is not generating any message for p4 and pir1 because these two are empty. So if you just see the contents of ls, and hit enter, you can see that p4 and pir1 is deleted, but p3, p5 and p7 is not deleted. Fine. Now I want to delete p3, but let me check the content of p3, and there is p2. And let me check the content of p2 as well. Here you need to give the relative path, and there is nothing inside p2. So what I can do here is rmdir then minus p. As I told you in making directory, while making directory, minus p means if the parent directory is not present, then it first creates the parent directory, then creates the subdirectory. Similarly for rmdir minus p, and now if I give p3, it's first going to delete p2 then p3. Remove it. Oops, I'm very sorry. It should be p2 as well. So what this means is that first is going to delete p2 and then the parent of p2 as well. First p2 then parent of p2 as well. And now check the contents. There is no p3 at all. There's another thing called recursive deletion, like rmdir minus r, then give p5 and hit enter. If you hit enter, you can check that all the contents of p5 is also deleted, and then p5 is also deleted. But for my case, like I'm using Cygwin, so here there is no such option with rmdir minus r. If you want to see what are the options available with the particular command, you can just give man, then the command name rmdir, then hit enter. So it's gonna give you the man page of that particular command, and here you can check what are the options that is available with it. Like for example, P stands for parents, V for verbose, and so on. You can just hit minus help to display help, and so on. And you can do this for every commands. Fine. So every individual details, every single detail is stored in this man pages of each commands. Hit Q to come out of the man page, and I want this to delete as well. And so let me check the contents of ls with ls with p5 new. So what I can do, and for p7 is this p7, what I can do rmdir then p5/p5 new, hit enter, and same thing with p7. Now I just hit, you just don't worry, like I'm just using up and down arrows for this thing, like whatever command you give to a particular session is gonna remember it, and if you just hit up arrow and down arrow, you can check the previous commands. This is called the history, command history, like that. And with -p option, I forgot to give the -p option here, so let's hit enter and let's check the contents, and there is only p5 because I forgot to give the -p option here, sorry, here. So right now I can just give rmdir with p5 and hit enter, and you can check the contents of dir under dir, and there is nothing at all. So I think this is all for just one tutorial, and you can check the previous alright, this is all for one class, I guess, and in the next class we are going to discuss about the file permissions, and this is really important, believe me. Like, what are the file permissions, do you think? Let's come to the home directory and let me show you, like ls-l, I told you about this long listing, and these are the file permissions. I will discuss about this in next class. So thank you very much and happy learning.